there's a lot of pressure to follow a certain path, and this is how you can become successful. These are the sorts of opportunities you should pursue. What was the first thing you did in your career that caused you to think, I want to do something a little different?
It was actually after my master's, from undergrad into my master's. It was like, okay, you have this one track. You're a performer, you're a singer, you're gonna, go to grad school, and then you're gonna, be on the Met stage in 5 to 10 years, but you're gonna get there, you're gonna go to La Scala. So it's very an operatic performance driven career goal.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the only option that we had, um, that I had really been given. And so after I got into my master's, I liked the program, graduated, but it's 2 years. And
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, what do I do next? And I had like a mini panic attack towards the end. I was like, oh, do I go to the doctoral program, or do I start to go on auditions? What happens here? And so I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do after the master's. So I was like, I'll take a gap year before I figure out what I want to do. And then life happens. You have bills to pay.
It tends
Um,
to do that. Life tends to happen.
it does. And then if you want to take voice lessons, it's no longer a part of your curriculum. You have to pay for them out of your pocket with this imaginary job that you don't have. And so it was life really that was like, oh, this can't just be the only way to do what it is that I love to do. As I, was trying to find my footing, and I started teaching, and that's something that I never thought that I would do, which is like I actually I have three sisters. The sister right above me is also in music as well. And the two of us, we swore off teaching. We were like, we'll never teach. Teachers are overworked,
I
underpaid.
hear you're going to be teaching in Tunisia.
And
Go figure.
it's hilarious, the fact that I thought that I wasn't going to teach, just in general. Like, my mother's a teacher, her mother was a teacher, most of my aunts and cousins are teachers, and I was like, no, this is not going to be me. But in teaching, that's when I kind of realized that what I wanted wasn't going to be a straight path. And then also that my students didn't necessarily want the same kind of package that had been presented to me either.
Hmm.
Not just this, oh, you teach, I mean, you learn here, you go to grad school, and then you do all these different, artist programs. They didn't want to do that. They were like, what if I use my music like this? What if I use it like that? And for me, I was like, oh, that's refreshing. That's nice. But I wasn't always at an institution that valued what the student wanted. And I was like, I feel like this is where I want to go a little bit more. I want to investigate what the student wants,
Yeah.
more, center that, as opposed to saying that it has to look, a career path has to look a specific way. And if it doesn't look that specific way, then that student is a failure, or that person is a failure. And so that's actually what brought me to Teachers College, because it is so student centered.
Oh, so somehow the person who thought she didn't want to teach ended up at teachers college.
It surely did. It's the biggest joke of my of in my family. They're just like, huh, interesting.
And where all in the world have you taught until now?
I'm mostly in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta.
Mm.
And so I've taught at Spelman. I actually still teach at Spelman, just not voice lessons. I teach a course called African Diaspora in the World.
Mm.
So I have taught in the music department at Spelman, and still teach in the African Diasporic Studies program there. I have taught at Clark Atlanta University, Agnes Scott College, Ohio State University, and with this El Sistema Inspire program in Atlanta called Atlanta Music Project. So that is, of course, I teach a college too. So teaching
That's
was a
fantastic. Well, yeah, I think you'll find Tunisia will be very different. I mean, the countries that I've been in Africa are Tunisia, Egypt, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. And I would say the five of them are as different from each other as any two countries you could find, even Zimbabwe and South Africa, which are neighboring countries, of course. And what challenges and opportunities do you anticipate in Tunisia?
That's I wonder what kind of music really interests them, what means something to them. So that's the I think that's and I think that's really always the challenge, trying to figure out where they want to go, and seeing how you can help them get to where it is that they want to go, or to help them imagine different places that they could.
Well, I feel very good about the fact that you're going then, because these are kids who are very connected, they're very online, and each one of them has a different set of interests. And there's a tendency sometimes as a musician who's curious about the world, when you go to another culture, whether it's Tunisia, whether it's Pakistan, you're like, ooh, I want to get to know the music of this place. And sometimes I think Tunisia, more than some of the other countries we've been, a lot of the students, they're very interested in different strands of popular music that come from the West. And it can feel a little bit awkward sometimes to think, well, no, I mean, I want to be interested in music from here, show me your music. And they're like, but this is what I want. So and I think that's good for people everywhere to realize, is that young people from any culture in the world, they're not necessarily going to be the official ambassador of their own culture. Right. And that's fine. You'll find all sorts of, like, I remember that's what I thought when I first went to Tunisia, and I thought, oh, we're doing all this cultural exchange. And I was at a party, and this young guy asked me where I'm from. I said, oh, I grew up in Indianapolis. And he said, oh, the Indiana Pacers. Did you see that one game where Reggie Miller did this, that? And I'm like, he knows my basketball team way better than I know my basketball team. So I was just like, okay, how about you teach me about my culture, and I'll tell you what I read in books or something about Tunisia. So yeah, I think as long as you expect the unexpected, you'll be fine. And what do you hope they get out of it? What do you hope the kids get out of it at the camp?
Confidence in whatever it is that they're doing. I hope that they want to continue to learn and grow in their craft, and to be open to the idea that it doesn't look successful. Musicking doesn't look one way. It can look lots of different ways. And but I hope that their love for music grows. That's really what it is, and grows like deeper than it was before.
That's good. Successful musicking doesn't go one way. I want that on a t-shirt. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of t-shirts, I have my Cultures in Harmony shirt. You have Not Today. What is Not Today?
So this is they've paraphrased like a Nat Turner from the Rebellion. And so I forget the name of this company. I've had this is like an old t-shirt. This is what I just kind of
those are the best.
But it is because I did my undergrad at a historically Black college at Spelman College. And so they put an emphasis on learning about, of course, African American history from a lens that you don't necessarily get in our public school system.
Yeah.
So here and there, like you see like different things that are just like, okay, all right, yeah, I like that. That's cute. Or that really resonates with me. And so for me, it's just like, okay, it's a reminder to be the best that I can in everything that I can do. And nothing is going to deter me from whatever that is.
That's good. That's good. And one last question. Cultures in Harmony donors, in your opinion, what is the thing that they're supporting?
There's so much, I think. There is, for sure, there's this global conversation that is able to happen because of the arts. And I think that a lot of people don't understand how integral the arts are to our humanity. You wouldn't know that by the way that they cut the funding and the systems, but it is a way in which we can communicate across cultures. And by doing that, by bringing us together with this particular art form, I mean, and music, in my opinion, especially vocal music, because maybe I'm a little biased, but we communicate these emotions with lots of different words. And so you're starting conversations, and that leads to understanding, it leads to empathy, it leads to wanting to discover something different, a curiosity, and then a creativity. And so you're supporting humanity. You're supporting trying to understand one person a little bit better, and as a result you're making yourself better too.